Because our screening is a little different this week in that we are not watching a new feature film or full feature film, but are instead watching portions of the two features we've seen so far, the screening briefing will be a little different as well. I'm not going to be giving you details and giving you background and context on a new feature, but I am instead going to be talking a little bit about what you should be watching for in terms of elements of mise-en-scène and how you should be going about watching and pulling out those details of mise-en-scène in the portions of the two films that you're going to be watching. You're going to be watching approximately the first half hour of each of the two features so far, Rabbit Hole and Wizard of Oz. From the very beginning of Rabbit Hole until the 30:08 mark, and from the beginning of The Wizard of Oz until the 34:10 mark. And of course, you'll need to be paying attention and be able to view your counter, your timer on your DVD playback, whether that is on a computer or whether that is on a DVD player, and pay attention to that. There are specific things that you should be doing with each of these films, the first portions of each of these films that you're going to be watching, and there are documents that you should download and print out if you wish, and use to guide your viewing of the portions of these two films that you're going to be looking at again. Download and view or print out these two documents and use them to guide your viewing. And I would like for you to do the portion of Wizard of Oz first and the portion of Rabbit Hole second. So watch the first half hour or so, 34 minutes of Wizard of Oz. Do that one first and then do the first half hour of Rabbit Hole. For Wizard of Oz, what the viewing guide is sort of a running list of items that you should be watching for, and just have that guide as you're watching, and you may need to pause or rewind at times to sort of catch the things that are in that list. But there's a mix, for Wizard of Oz, there's a mix of items related to the film production process, things that I have pointed out about how the film was made, and things that you can notice in the film itself that are traces of the production of the film. Things that are seams in the production of the movie, like I mentioned in the briefing for Wizard of Oz when you screened it last week. And then the second group of items is related to the mise-en-scène in Wizard of Oz, different things related to the elements of mise-en-scène that you should watch for and try and grasp as you're watching that first portion of the Wizard of Oz. And the two types of items are mixed together in that list for that first 34 minutes of the Wizard of Oz. The list and viewing guide for Rabbit Hole is a little bit different in that it basically is just a list of 4 different scenes from that first 30 minutes of the film with a little bit of description. And before you start watching, rewatching that first half hour of Rabbit Hole, you should pick one of the 4 scenes in that list, just one of them, and as you're screening then, take notes analyzing the mise-en-scène in that particular scene. And after you've finished watching the full half hour of the first half hour of Rabbit Hole, you may want to go back and watch just that particular scene yet another time and take some more notes and see what you can notice in terms of the mise-en-scène in that scene, because what you are going to then be doing is, for your screening quiz for this week, like everything else relating to the screening quiz is going to be a little different as well. What you will do is you will go as normal into the exam module for the screening quiz in eCollege, and then you will be taking those notes that you have written about the mise-en-scène in that scene from Rabbit Hole, analyzing the mise-en-scène from that scene in Rabbit Hole, and writing them up into a couple of paragraphs, probably, in the form of a short essay, a very brief essay, just talking about what elements of mise-en-scène you were able to notice and able to analyze from your particular scene that you have picked out of Rabbit Hole. We still have a what to watch for list, and what you should be watching for in both of these excerpts, or both of these portions of the two films, is all of the different things related to mise-en-scène that we've learned about this week. The four aspects of mise-en-scène: the costumes and makeup, the sets and settings, the figure behavior, and the lighting. Watch for those four aspects and take note of them in both of the films. Even in Wizard of Oz, things that may not necessarily be on the viewing guide, try and take note of them as well. And take note of them in Rabbit Hole, and especially in the particular scene that you have chosen to analyze in Rabbit Hole. Pay attention to the composition of the frame. A large part of mise-en-scène, as we've been learning this week, is how are elements composed within the film frame, the arrangement of those elements within the film frame. So just in general, watch for the way in which the film frame is composed, the composition of those frames. And then finally, subject camera distance. We've learned this week about different types of shots and the whole concept of subject camera distance: close-ups, medium shots, long shots, and then the other variations that fall along that continuum of subject camera distance. So watch for that and see how the filmmakers use subject camera distance in the context of the stories in The Wizard of Oz and in Rabbit Hole.